In 2172, the world governments ran out of money, bodies, and people who gave a damn. Giant corporations rose to take their place and restore order while extracting maximum value from the masses. Most of humanity live in corporate arcologies, biodomes, gated burbclaves, and towering fabricated half-stacks. The rest scrabble for survival in what's left of the burning, cursed Badlands. This is the Sprawl, a cyberpunk role-playing game set in our dark dystopian future, where a few exceptional individuals solve problems, one cred at a time. Music and sound effects by Dark Raven Games, White Bat Audio, and Plate Mail Games. This production features real, uncensored gaming and mature, potentially disturbing content. Proceed at your own discretion. All right, folks, and we are live. Thanks for listening here to Knights of the Braille, to episode number 2 of the Sprawl with our various streamers, players, and behind-the-scenes gurus. As the introduction says, this is Knights of the Braille running the Sprawl, a cyberpunk role-playing game. Most of the music and sound effects you're going to hear today are from White Bat Audio, Plate Mail Games, and Dark Raven Games. However, our current music that you're listening to right now is by one of our very own contributors, Pepper the Fox. You can find her at Pepper Fox on Twitter. Thanks very much for your contribution, and we love community submissions and other works. I am Blind Fury, your GM for today, Master of Ceremony, Bringer of Terror, and capitalizer on all low die rolls, as everyone knows. We also have, I'm going to go around the circle for various people. We have Jim running in the background on making the stream live. Say hi, Jim. Jim. I don't think he was expecting to come on stream. Oh well. I like to give credit where the support staff is due, because it's necessary. I couldn't do it myself. We have Steven, alias Glitch Foo, or Seamus in this case, playing our hacker for today. Say hi, Steven.
Hello, everybody.
All right, and we've got Amethyst. I'm slowly overcoming my propensity to call her Sapphire. Danny Marie Ock, as my Texas speech engine likes to say.
Hi.
Our Southern Belle and sane voice in this case, and running the fixer for today. And finally, we have Phil, otherwise known as Mostly Blind Gamer, who will be running our Glass, our reporter, our grizzled neuroepinephrine and other bioenhancer addicted old grizzled guy who's been there, seen it all, recorded it, and now just wants to expose the truth. Say hi, Phil.
Hey, everybody.
All right. And that's our crew for today. Unfortunately, from our last game, Slip had to step out. We'll all miss him, but hopefully he'll be back next week for the conclusion of this setting. Today's mission is called Cybernetic Skeletons, and that will become apparent in a little bit. And what we're going to do for the next little bit while we're listening to Pepper's background music is we are going to go back over last week's the last session that we did, and we're also going to up links. All of you who had, if you didn't do it before, if you played with any of the other characters and you feel like you established a connection with them, you can add an additional +1 links to a maximum of +2 with those people. Essentially, if you feel like your character interacted with another person and that you would work well with them together and develop some synergy, this is your chance of representing that in the form of a bonus when you're cooperating to try and assist other people. Anyone want to do that? Feel free to add Slip to that list if you would like.
Yeah, I think Glass might want to get a +1 in there with Amethyst. If for nothing else than the collective shock of that EMP grenade giving them a hard time.
I was thinking about that EMP grenade too. I'm good with that.
Yeah, the only mildly hostile act taken by the group the entire session, in direct opposition of every other group I've ever run this game with. All right, that's cool. Glitch Foo, Seamus, did you want to add anything to with any other player or character?
I don't think so. I don't think he really bonded with anybody last week.
That is kind of your MO. So, well played for you for sacrificing mechanical advantage for good roleplay. All right. So does anyone want to describe what happened last time? No? Alrighty. No volunteers. Crickets. I need to get a sound effect for that. So, in last session, which was Holographic Happy Meal, our intrepid reporter, Glass, our driver, Slip, our fixer, Amethyst, and our hacker, Seamus, otherwise known on the Matrix as Glitch Foo, took on a high-paying mission from an indeterminate sponsor. Their job was to retrieve a sample of a new biomaterial that was being researched underneath a Megacorp's franchise, in this case Mac Dash or Mac Dash Donald's, in a secret biolab. Get a sample, don't get identified, and get some, and for a bonus, get some of the research materials associated with it. Glitch Foo ended up doing a quick run-in on the servers and hacked his way in without too much difficulty. After that, there was much hijinks and interaction. I believe Amethyst was able to establish a contact with someone named Jacques, who, after she had a problem with one of the deals that she was striking between him and Time Ruger, got what she needed, but ended up on his hit list as a byproduct of it. Slip got some Mac Dash uniforms when dealing with his contact Roxy, which is part of a local girl gang, and drove off into the sunlight, or the sunrise or sunset, depending on how you look at it. And then the group made a move on the Mac Dash Donald's location. They impersonated some staff, ended up causing one of the guys, the single physical employee, to rage quit, broke in, got all their stuff, set off an EMP to break down the meat servitors that were guarding the place, got the equipment, and got out. Of course, 50% of the rolls that they made were botches, so there's probably a lot of people who are aware of what's going on. Glass now has a good grasp on something that's happening underneath Mac Dash facilities and research that's being done literally in the dark in some cases. And various contacts have been established. That brings us to today, where only 3 of the previous 4 intrepid adventurers are still looking to get paid and have been requested for a job. But before we do that, it's important for us to do our pre-game moves. So before we go into the die rolling and the rest of the makeup, does anyone have anything to say or questions to ask? 3, 2, 1. I'll take that as no. If you're asking, you're on mute. All right, so we are going to move on. I believe we have 2 characters today who have pre-game moves. Let's start with Glass. You have a 2d6 roll, I believe, for one of your story, depending on how much hold you can get, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Do-do-do.
The nose for the story, right? So let me roll that. I get a 4. Plus edge
Alright.
makes it 6. That's not great.
Be a failure.
Yeah.
0. All right. No plot protection for you, sir. In attempting to research and get your materials together for this particular mission, you encounter a strange blank wall against all the resources you try to pull. No one knows everything. And in fact, everyone you contact, including some of the web pages, says the exact same thing over and over again. I don't know anything about that. What do you mean? That seems kind of ridiculous. I mean, seriously? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? It's as if they're all reading from the same script. So let's go on to Amethyst, last week's queen of the possible but highly improbable die rolls, not in a way that she probably wants to replicate today. Let's see. I think you have to roll once each for your. What is it here? You have resources, right? Jobs.
Yeah.
You still going
that's
with the hustling? Are you still going with the pimping and the resource dealing?
Brokering deals. Yeah, I think so. It's fine with me. Let's see. These are edge. +1. So 2d6, right?
You got it.
Okay. I think I did that right. Ugh. I got a 3 and a 5. I got 8.
Okay, so that's what you got last time, I believe. So you rolled 3 and a 5?
Yeah, I rolled a 3 and a 5.
Okay, so what do you... Let's see what you add to that. Let's see, roll edge. What's your edge modifier?
+1.
Alright, so that would take you to a 9, actually. So you've... It's the highest non-maximum success you could roll. So it's actually pretty good for you. Keep up the good work. Alright, let's say one of these is a disaster. Profit from the rest. Would you like your pimping job to be a disaster, or would you like your hustling / information dealing job to be a disaster?
Let's say today pimping went wrong and brokering deals was a success.
Pimping went wrong. I'm sure that's like a movie title somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, let's start with the positive. You gain 1 cred, which is great considering that Jacques took all your profit from the half of your profit from the last one. All right. Gain intel. Something goes wrong with a customer. Should we double down on the Jacques theme? Nah.
Might as well. No? Okay.
No. Well, I mean, we could double down the Jacques theme, but I think that would be that's a little. He's not a big enough fish to really justify all of your time and effort. It's much more
fair.
interesting. We add some additional people. So in dealing with your group and managing your resources, quote unquote, a lot of vague language used in these cases. You're wandering around and taking care of things, and it turns out it looks like one of the people in that went into one of your locations was actually an employee of NGO. Things didn't go well. They thought they were going into a robot / android sort of parlor and ended up with real meat people. This was very distressing for them, and they made a huge scene. There's some questions about advertising and your local business affiliation. Jesus Inc. has your back. and the Pope Patrol was able to remove them from the premises, but not until this particular place was turned much more high profile than you would like. And as a result, they and you by association are known as the one is known for providing yet again a substitution type scenario, because it costs money to run robots. People are cheap, right?
Yeah. Eek.
You're getting quite an image there.
I am.
Now, a lot of these will happen to everybody, so it's understood within the industry that these things will happen. It's not your fault, but for the moment, might play into some of our future adventures. And that's where we are. So I believe we are now on to the section where we are going to talk about your next mission. Has everyone done all their prep, charged their batteries, gotten all their equipment together, loaded their various firearms, refreshed their screens, upgraded their hardware, and generally set themselves up for success? No one's done any of those things. Okay, good to know.
As much as we can after.
Yeah.
Right.
I have some reputation to sort out over here. Yeah.
How's it been going with Jacques?
Not
Everybody
good.
wants
Not
to know.
not good.
Not good?
I mean, I don't know if we know that we made it on his list, but we as players know that we made it on his list, and
Is he conspicuously absent from your life at this point, to a point where it's actually kind of worrisome? Or has he been very present, to a point where it's a little more than obvious?
I feel like he's taken it seriously, so I feel like the first one, he's kind of backed off, and he's letting somebody else do his dirty work, so...
For someone who wanted you to be his impersonal iron pipeline, he's not talking to you very much.
Yeah.
And he was never stable to begin with, so that's probably a bad sign.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is time to look at the basic moves of Get the Job. All right. So it is plus edge, and the person with the highest bonus on that in your group, should you want to get the highest advantage, would be Glass. And there we go. So as for anyone who's not familiar with this mechanic, the way we do this typically is we'll roll the outcome, we'll determine what it is, we'll describe what the results are, and then we'll role play through the scenario as needed, making additional rolls where necessary to sort of craft the scene from the movie perspective. As a brief reminder, as we're playing through these things, think of yourself as an action hero / character. It might be a tragedy, you might be the triumphing hero, but the idea of this is to get quick cuts and clean scenes as we're telling a story for a roughly 2-3 hour movie marathon. Who would like to roll to get the mission?
I have my dice in hand if you guys want me to toss them.
Yeah, Glass can roll. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's probably
Yeah.
the
That's
best.
good. I'm good with
All right, here we go. For reference, and I'll hold it up to the camera for those who can see. I have these very large tactile dice. They're not Braille dice, but they're tactile. They're 3D printed. Ask me about them on Twitter or wherever. If you're looking for tactile dice and can't or don't want to use Braille. Here we go. And I'm writing them out. And with 2 edge, that's a 7. But
All right.
before you tell us what happens, let me describe edge to our wonderful audience. Sorry, Glass. The man with all the edge, right? To our wonderful audience. He's an older, grizzled reporter. He wears, as I'm wearing right now, a double-breasted coat, a fedora, both in dark gray. He wears rounded glasses. Very old-fashioned, very boring. He's a traditionalist, so he shaves, but he forgets to. So he's got a 5 o'clock shadow when he really shouldn't. And when he's particularly frustrated, You might see him hold a little black device to his neck just for a split second. And if you ask about him, he'll tell you he just needs some help to focus.
Here you go, Glass. I even found a substitute for that particular device.
Ah, wonderful.
There you go. It's got a little dial on top and everything. So, all right. Well, 7 means that you get the job. Now, let's see. To get to choose one of these things. This you definitely get. The rest of it is up to me. The employer provides useful information, intel. The employer provides useful assets plus gear. So it's either +1 intel or +1 gear if you pick one of those. The job pays well. You get extra money. The meeting doesn't attract attention. The employer is identifiable. And that's it. So which one of these is important to you folks?
Guys, given our poor luck doing research, I would go for the intel. What do you guys think?
I'm good with that. Smart choice.
Works
We need
for
all that
me.
we can get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Intel it is. All right. So, the mission in this case, I'm assuming this comes through Amethyst yet again, and a party would like you as a group to acquire something. It's a relatively, quote, simple infiltration job, unquote, and it will pay standard rates because if you guys do your job right, you shouldn't actually have to work that hard. We all know what that means. The meet site is apparently on a piece of public transportation. Glass will need to go. Who else would like to... Seamus, are you coming out in public? Are you staying back in your apartment for this? What's the plan?
Staying back in the apartment and keeping an eye on everybody through, everyone else's cell phones and cameras. And
Their version of body cam? All right, check. Amethyst, you going with him, or are you staying back? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm going.
All right. Well, let's switch scenes then. I'll describe what happens. And we have sound effects for... There we go. All right. So, the meeting location is apparently a large downtown bus in one of the more organized urban areas of the Sprawl. Most places don't have a communal structure capable of supporting public transportation, but this is generally updated and taken care of by some of the megacorps in the area as more of a way to not have to spend money on on-site housing for contractors. As you can hear by the sound effects in the background, this is a mobilized, basically a air float sort of hover vehicle which moves around picking up people on a defined route. As you step in, Glass, it does kind of look like a traditional bus with seats going down either side, baggage over top, and safety bars that people can hold on to down the center. You've been instructed to sit behind the driver's location, right near one of the behind which there's a sort of a baggage dump where you can drop stuff that's larger than would be accommodated in the overhead storage. And it doesn't say anything else, it just says a time and place on a particular stop and says for you to get in. You and Amethyst hop in. You guys doing anything before we move on with this description?
Glass sits. He takes off his hat, puts it down on his lap, and inconspicuously removes his holdout pistol from under his coat and holds it under the hat.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Amethyst?
Amethyst would discreetly have. So my armor is like a form-fitting trench coat-esque deal. Looks very dressy. She's always
Very
very
chic.
put together in her attire. Yeah. So she's, of course, I'm checking my pockets to make sure my weapon's there. I also carry a pistol. It's pretty discreet as far as that can go, and checking all my gear.
You both have fold-out
Make
pistols.
sure.
They're
I
small.
believe so.
Yep, they're small, single-stack, easily concealed firearms, which are designed to be concealed close to the body. They don't have a lot of capacity, but for what they do quickly, and they're harder to find, which is the whole point of carrying them when you're in a position. You don't want to look like you're afraid, but it's always nice to have backup, you know. All right, so strangely, most of the bus is empty, except for some derelict in the back who's back muttering over what looks to be a mesh bag full of plastic water bottles of different colors. And up front, you guys sit down, and as Glass sits down, one of the baggage pieces looks like a briefcase or a big suitcase falls open, and a hologram projects out of it. This appears to be a red cloud with eyes, and it flows in a prescribed radius within the inside of the fallen open container. So it looks like there's a cloud contained within inside. The light fixtures don't seem to penetrate the cloud, and the holographic image is very well rendered as the figure turns around to you, or the eyes at least do.
Greetings. Are you the contact? Password, please.
The robotic voice, unlike the last one, seems very synthetic and overdone. Asks you for the password that was given with the initial mission brief that was given to Amethyst. I'm assuming you guys provide it. And the camera splashes down from all sides, showing the mist and Glass and the hobo who's in the back, muttering through his bottles, looks at the cloud, flinches, and goes back to muttering through stuff. And the voice turns around.
This is, as described, a standard payment structure. You will receive 5 credits for this mission. If you are successful, there is a drive which has basic information about the location, the desired acquisition, and a piece of information about the mission you will find useful. Do you accept?
Of course, that
Aw.
sounds just fine.
Oh,
That's why we're here.
good. Glad to hear it. As you are a deniable asset, we have no ability to extract you, but we do have some resources on site if things go badly. So, there's also a passphrase. You may say in certain locations, if you are able to extract the package, you can use it to acquire assistance. You will need to deposit the entire package plus any additional software to get payment. Failure to do so will be seen as an attempt to abscond with our materials and will be treated accordingly. Any questions?
I think we have what we need.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
The small pneumatic sound, hiss of popped air, comes, and a thumb drive or jump drive pops out of the mist and flies into Glass's lap. The piece of luggage closes, and the mist disappears, again with the sound of a closing lightsaber as a hologram. It disappears, and the piece of luggage is sucked into the front container where the driver of the device or the controlling software and computer hub would be found. So there's that. You guys are on a moving piece of public transportation. After the next stop, a couple more people get on. What do you guys do? Plans?
Glass puts his pistol away, puts the drive away with it. He put it right under his hat where the pistol was as soon as it was in the air.
Nice touch.
Looks to Amethyst. Are we there yet?
Oh, shouldn't be long.
All right. Hey, Seamus, you're watching body cams and local live feeds for watching this group, right?
Yep.
So as you're looking around, you're not really paying that much attention until something triggers some of your automated threat assessment work. And it turns out that several of the water bottles in the hobo's bag are labeled with some very complicated technical chemical specifications and patent numbers. Several of them look like nerve agents and sleeping gas and biological weapons. They're delivered by contact or proximity.
I would like to make Glass's cell phone, or I guess.
You have communication with them. You guys are in line. Just do what you can do. It's all good.
So I can just talk into his head.
I'm not going to make you do die rolls for, like, you've got this stuff hardwired in. I'm assuming if you're all working together, you have at least a modicum amount of trust, even if you're going to throw the cell phone away later if you stop working together.
Yeah. I tell him to, hey, you might want to check the that dude with the bottles.
What's up?
Some really
What do you
nasty
have?
stuff in that bag.
Nasty right now or nasty later?
Nasty like you won't be the same if something goes wrong.
So are we sure we want to walk into that? Glass
You might want
still stands up.
Get out of there as quick as possible.
Stands up. Stiffly. Trying to look calm. Puts his hat back on. Starts walking towards one of the exits. While observing the guy in the back. Because I want to know if he's going to pull a fast one on us. Right
Are
now.
they in motion right now?
Yeah, they're in a moving vehicle.
Can I cause an emergency stop?
You would have to try and get into the Matrix and hack it remotely, but that's potentially within your power. Is that the goal?
That is the goal.
All right. So, before you can, that's not an instantaneous thing, even with your speeds. So let's let Glass resolve whatever he's going to do with the hobo full of multicolored rainbow water bottles. And then we will see if you're able to interrupt and cause a distraction in this case.
Ooh.
Let me bring up some follow-up music. We'll have you here in a second. All right, and go ahead, Glass.
I would like to assess the situation and this individual.
Ooh, look at you. All right, 2d6 plus edge.
Will do. All right,
I love it.
wish me luck, everybody.
It's like my little players have read the rule book and they're all grown up now.
Oh, that's bad. 3 plus 2, 5. That is a bad roll.
3 plus 2 is 5. Is that with your edge?
That is with my edge.
Oh.
Yeah, that's 1 plus 2 plus 2.
Oh.
Wow. That's an E-roll.
That is a very bad roll.
Oh.
All right, everybody. See you next week.
The part of the intrepid reporter today. All right, so Glass, you're walking back towards this guy, and he looks up. His face, you can see the eyes are actually covered with. It looks like at first case he's wearing some old, like, very thick bifocal glasses. As you get closer, you realize there's no earpieces, and they've been forcibly inset into his ocular bone structure, so that it's not like the sort of street samurai type look that you're used to seeing, or the high-tech people who are emulating robots or something like that. It's someone who's taken an old piece of technology and built it in such a way that it's probably conceals something more high-tech. And he stands up and starts waving his hand, and one of them is a red bottle with a chemical formula printed on the plastic, and says, "Hey, give me 01's data there. State of good driving, heavy leave you learn and live for tomorrow. Chicken rainbow beep." And starts advancing on you, shaking the spray bottle repeatedly and menacing you with it as he sways from side to side. He smells like burnt plastic, cheap potato fermented prison liquor, and despair and bad decisions.
Are there other people on this bus?
Oh yeah, there's like 4 or 5 other people, not including
4 or 5 other people.
Mhm.
All right, you gonna go ahead and not shoot this guy?
Probably best. Amethyst could kind of, I could step in and be like, "Oh, Sugar, I think you got the wrong person," and like casually, discreetly tries to direct him to
John Drive, my data 0111 beep rainbow. What? Give me mine. Give me data. All right, hey, Steven, or excuse me, Seamus.
You know what, does this sound like a career gone wrong?
Couriers generally are trying to go someplace and have something to carry. It's hard to assess exactly what's going on. In fact, Glass attempted to do that and came up with nothing. So, I believe you were attempting to emergency stop the bus.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. So why don't we see? You're going to need to log into the local controls for this vehicle. You jack into the matrix and find yourself looking around. So what? I believe it's time for everyone's favorite console cowboy.
Which is 2d6 plus mind.
Yep.
Got a total of 11.
All right, 3 hold. Hopefully you don't need it. The basic system that you're looking at is a very simple control node for this area. None of it's that super complicated. There's a low-grade device blocking it, but you're trying to hack directly into the signal that's controlling this particular vehicle, which has a lot less security than the central dispatch hub. So, let's see you physically log into this location. Give me a roll plus, what's it called? Manipulate, which I believe in this case is plus synth, which is a +1 for you, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, snap. Total of 5.
5s is. I don't know what it is with you guys. It's like either 11 or there's a high chance that it's going to be low. So did you roll the 5?
I rolled a 4, and that's +1.
I'm really trying to find out better outcomes for you. Let's see here.
You know it's a bad roll when the DM absolutely wants to be sure what numbers you get, one by one.
All right, so here's the deal. You're going to need to spend at least one of those console cowboy holds just to avoid to keep the blue ice from triggering. Right out.
Well, that's what I got them for, so.
All right. You are able to activate the full stop option, and let me see if I can see if there's something here that'll work. Nope. Okay. I need you to make the. You've already attempted the manipulate roll, and it didn't work. You can use the one hold you would have gotten for getting into a compromised system, based on your +1 manipulate check, and you can force this to stop. You're going to be kicked right out of the system afterward, though. You basically wrecked the interface at this point.
I will do that then.
All right, the bus comes to a screaming halt. All the systems shut down. And the vehicle stopped in the middle of the street. All of you are aware at this point that while this isn't the horrible experience it would be in the middle of a highway, you are in a very dangerous situation here. A voice in the background very calmly says, "For your safety and security, we suggest you leave the vehicle. This pre-recorded message has been triggered due to failure of basic proximity sensor systems, propulsion, and other basic security functionality. You are no longer under the protection of the General Enterprise Group and its subsidiaries. We suggest you leave the vehicle. We suggest you leave the vehicle. We suggest you leave the vehicle.
Glass
We suggest you...
says, "Sir, this is my stop." Tips his hat, looks over Amethyst, and runs out.
Get rainbows! Ah! Ah! And Amethyst, as Glass turns, he smiles, and you can see inside where his teeth should be is a line of carbon fiber chainsaw blades running around the inside of his mouth, silently running at high speed, so fast that you can hear the whirring sound like a dentist drill.
Ooh.
Rainbows! Want it! And he starts moving after Glass, who still has the original jump drive.
Should I try and shoot this man?
Should is such an interesting question.
Well,
Can?
should was really directed at Glass.
It's true. You could fix this problem, potentially. It's up to you.
How else could I fix this problem? I mean, I could trip him, but I think he's already gone past me. Or try to trip him, I should say.
The situation has changed dramatically. Again, Glass is
Yeah.
bailing out.
I think Saw's bearing down on you gives you ample reason to shoot somebody.
Well, I'm on board with this plan. How shall we proceed? I'd like to try and shoot this man.
And just as a general piece of information in this case, unless private security is involved, law enforcement is more of a who has jurisdiction type thing. There is no unified legal code for all. The Fed, federally executed democracy, would like people to think that the old United States and most of its subsidiaries are still in play, but for all practical purposes, there is no unified government governing most of North America anymore. So,
well, as Amethyst, we're used to some violence, so it's fine.
Yeah.
How do I make that happen, though, with the shooting?
All right, that would be... so my question is, are you actually trying to overpower him using physical force, or are you attempting to get him to stop using the threat of force that you will execute if he doesn't?
I don't... First of all, physical force, no. I don't think that will work out very well. Threat of force, maybe. I'm thinking more like just force. Just...
Well, that by physical force, I mean the use of the firearm in this case. I'm talking about the actual use of real live stuff as opposed to just trying to talk him down.
Oh, no. This man is past talk. No.
Alrighty, so roll plus meat. You are going for play hardball, I think?
Mix it up.
Is it going to be well?
Or mix it up. That's right, yeah.
Okay. Let me find that really quick.
Glass is now ready to run Sprawl games. He knows the rules better than the GM.
Right? Glass has just left. just knows. What
you got?
Meanwhile. I was just trying to see how many dice am I supposed to roll for mixed up?
2d6
That's what I was looking for. It is
plus-
two. Okay.
plus your
Plus I
edge.
have -1, so edge is not going to go well. But
Or meat.
here's
Sorry,
hoping.
plus meat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got 7, but I got a -1 to meet, so 6. 6.
I'm gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
You hear me. Don't puncture the bottles.
Oh my god.
All right. So you hear that sound, and then you hear. Is that gonna work?
Of course you had that sound effect. Oh my god. Ah.
I didn't think I would be using that in a modern setting. I was sure that was going to be a dungeon-only sound effect, but no, not so much.
You found your ways to test your skill.
That's right. All right, so Amethyst, you take 2 harm. I need you to roll on the harm table. Let me pull that up here.
Is that a D6 or?
Oh, it's gonna be 2d6. Let me check here.
Okay, I can't even.
So you're gonna be. You only take 1 harm. I'm sorry. You have your coat lowers that effect by 1. So your armor.
Okay.
It protects your skin from contact, which is good. Now, let's see what you get on the 2d6 roll.
I got a 3 and a 5 in that order.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good, because rolling high on this one is bad.
Okay. Well,
7 to 9. I get to choose one. You lose your footing. You lose your grip on whatever you're holding. You lose your track on someone, and someone gets a drop on you. Yeah, so Amethyst, the gas goes off and the hobo gets off the vehicle and manages to go after Glass, and you lose track of wherever they go. Glass, there's some coughing and a gunshot from back, not necessarily in that order, from back in the stopped vehicle, and you can hear the guy who keeps saying the words 0, 1, jump drive, and rainbow beep coming after you, waving this time a different colored water bottle, sports bottle of some sort. Give me jump drive, mine. 1 is 0, 1, 1 rainbow beeps. It's very insistent on that, and you two can hear the sound of the power drill from his face as the carbon fiber chainsaw blades run around his gum structure. What do you do?
Yeah, this isn't going well. I want to turn around, take cover behind something.
Okay.
What's
Shamus,
around me?
Just a sec. So you're on the street. Let me cue that up for you here.
Sure.
And in this section, off the side of the street, you're on a poured and prefabricated steelcrete walkway. There are buildings to either side. You're in what's left of an old 21st century city that's been repurposed for modern buildings and rentable materials. So someone has taken the older business structure and has repurposed it with modern facings, stucco, etc. It's not a high-end place, but it's not the most low-end place. There are people walking around in business suits. As you can hear, there's a mech loader that's walking down the street on the other side, carrying different objects. and there's no direct police presence. So there's lots of people, but there's not a lot of what you would call authority in your general vicinity. And there are hover cars, bikes, tanks, small truck vehicles around you, and drones flying through the air.
Right. I'd like to make Seamus aware of the mech loader.
Okay.
So, I mean, well, I guess I just mentioned it like Seamus, there's a mech loader here. I might need you to do something with it. And as the guy's approaching, man, this is rough. I'm gonna pull out my pistol.
Okay.
Pointing at the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And play hard. You got the wrong guy. Back off. I got stuff to do today. And you're not on my agenda.
I love the hard-bitten voice, by the way. It's great. Play hardball
Let's
plus
see if
edge.
the
That
dice
is your
love it
thing.
too.
All right. What do we got?
Oh, it's looking good. Got a 6 on one. Let me find the other die. You're not going to believe this. I'm going to check it. Got 2 6s plus 2.
All right.
I do believe I rolled a 14.
Thank God.
10 plus NPCs do what you want. The guy looks at you, looks down into his bag of stuff, stares down the barrel of the concealed handgun that the ragged-looking reporter has drawn in a very steady hand, and decides he's already dodged 1 bullet today. It's not worth it. In my drive. Back later, rainbow beep, and stumbles off back down an alley in between 2 buildings. All you can hear from the sound is the whirring of the chainsaw going rainbow beep. And the most disturbing thought crosses your mind as you've intimidated him. You were looking into the guy's mouth, and the sounds were coming out of it. There was no tongue articulating the noise. You guys are clear. Congratulations. I really would have liked to have seen what Seamus would have done with that power loader. But your intrepid reporter has stood off a potential assassin's provocateur. And it's now time for you guys to contemplate your mission and prepare. Are you doing what you did last time and going back to Seamus's apartment, or are you doing something more clandestine? What's the plan?
Glass, you wanna kind of need cool suggestions as the reporter for this secret spy stuff.
I bet Glass might know a rundown, old-timey newspaper printing press.
Ooh.
Picture the machines that are the size of your house.
Right.
It looks like a warehouse. Right. The machines are that big. And they're all going to be all run down because it's all digital now. But Glass is old-fashioned. And he misses them.
The mech loader gives you a thumbs up.
I'll totally give you one for free.
Well, it's not doing anything but that,
so. That's so good.
Leaving the encounter, Glass quickly injects something into his neck and looks left, looks right. Trying to make sure people aren't too excited about what happened.
There's not a lot of interest in that. So are you actually going for the printing press as your area to talk, or?
I mean, I'd like to.
I'm good with that.
All right.
Let's do it.
I have found the appropriate sound effects.
Down.
All right, guys. Let's add something. I'll have to tune the volume for this, but we'll get it there for you. Processing. There we go. Courtesy of Plate Mail Games.
That's fun.
That works. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, you find an old. This is probably more of a museum piece that has been restored by a bunch of hobbyists. Various printing presses and devices have been linked into a large assembly line for old style, different types of preparing published products. There's an old mimeograph machine, the old Blue Ink Special. There are several projectors. There's a Xerox copier in the corner that says out of service. The entire area looks like a museum to old style publication through the years. But the pride and joy, the centerpiece to which people have created thousands of CAD files to print the parts to restore it to its old glory, is a giant turn of the 20th century printing press device that Henry Ford and Sam Colt would have absolutely salivated over. It's a perfectly restored assembly and manufacturing line, complete with printing options for various documents. And it's very carefully stamping out this giant device, which covers approximately, it's probably 50 feet long and 100 feet high. Each time it takes about 5 minutes, and it stamps one business card for the local makerspace.
One thing it probably doesn't have is a bunch of like digital cameras and stuff around.
I mean, it's not hard for you to get a drone. Bring yourself in.
Oh yeah.
Piece of cake. Like, I'm talking off-the-shelf model. It's not something you'd ever want to use on a mission, but a virtual presence device is totally possible for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
So, the mission, as it is, we'll go right into this, and I'll let you guys talk about it while I step away for just a moment, is that you collectively have been asked to retrieve what appears to be an endoskeleton. It is a perfect representation of the human skeleton, down to the finest bone structure, including the ears, that has been articulated and set up with chips of some kind so that it can replicate human movement. It is average size, just under 6 feet. And you have several pictures from different angles to identify the device. The location is, yet again, underneath a Mac-Dash location. However, this one, instead of being one of its cheap franchises in the bad part of town, appears to be one of their deployment centers for one of their military bases. It's slightly outside the Sprawl itself, near a channel canal that leads out into the ocean. So it's a brown water canal that goes out into blue water, and it's a reasonably secure location with perimeter defenses static and active. It is a deployment center, so about the size of, plus training and assembly, so it's about the size of Fort Bragg. If you're familiar with it, we're talking hundreds if not thousands of acres for different procedures. And the location is, the hypothesized location is somewhere on base. There's an administrative building in the central hub, not the center one, but one of the ones off to the side, sort of one of the nondescript buildings you see in every location. Supposedly, somewhere in there or under there is this thing, and they need you to get it out. They just can't tell you where it is.
I bet they called this project Hamburglar.
I could not say. I will let you guys think about that for just a second. If you want to talk through your plan, how you want to approach this, and what resources you want to deploy. We have about an hour, so I'll be back in just a second if you want to develop your plan, and then we will go through the different sections of what you guys need to do for developing resources. Each of you can name a contact or reach out, hit the streets. If you have credit, you can try and buy extra cybernetics. I'll be back in just a second. Just let me know what you want. Going on mute.
Cool.
Right. I feel like Amethyst would walk in this place with awe and be like, well, that didn't quite go as planned, but I like this place. It has a little old feel. It's kind of comforting.
Yeah, you smell that. It smells like the truth. Dirty.
Alright. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna hope that contact rolls go better this time than mine did last time.
Oh, yeah.
I have 2 of those. I'm probably gonna try and use them.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap.
I am thinking one of the reasons we're hanging out here is because Glass wants to meet up with a forger.
Ooh.
Get his papers.
That sounds fun. I like
Because
that.
a snazzy outfit isn't getting us in this place. I don't think.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. I think we're gonna need some good papers.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have to look the part too, but it sounds like it's gonna be guarded. So we're gonna need some gear.
Surveillance countermeasures?
Yeah, that could work. Something on Seamus's end, maybe.
Yep.
I'm looking through the moves, trying to see if there's anything good to use.
My options are.
I'm curious about this cybernetics side that was mentioned.
Yep. Can we get camouflage and stuff, for instance?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's see. Produce equipment, that's...
Chapter 5, cyberware.
Gear to produce equipment, okay. Okay.
I have returned. Have you guys developed a plan as to what you want to do?
Somewhat. What we want to do, from what I'm gathering, is we want to get maybe some forged documents, and then we also want to get some kind of surveillance countermeasures going.
Okay.
And maybe some camouflage gear, if that's something we can do with cyberware. We're kind of trying to figure it out.
Okay. Interesting. I was hoping you guys had secrets that the GM wouldn't know about until I listened to the YouTube episode later.
Oh man, that would be great.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Glass is like I totally had that. Sure, we can do some editing later, right? Sure.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going over the cyberware list, if there's anything we actually can use to be very, very stealthy. But it seems like there isn't. No.
Let me see, what do I have?
No advanced camo or anything like that. But in the meantime, I would like to declare a contact.
Okay. What you got?
And I haven't done that before, so, you know.
You just do it. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's the deal. One of the reasons Glass came into this old-timey, old-fashioned place with all the printing gear is we're going to have to get in to this establishment, if you will. And it's a lot more serious than the last place, and a snazzy outfit isn't going to do it. So we're going to be looking for papers, and Glass knows a guy for that.
Okay.
An old guy called Larry. Also an old-timey style. Very, very physical, very analog type guy who can hopefully forge us some papers that'll be good enough to get in without having to go through digital verifications. Call them like a backup type thing, right?
Fair
like
enough.
Like what you'd use if your comms were down.
All right. So you're trying to get physical papers to, with the appropriate materials to get through the front gate, so you can bluff your way through.
That is correct.
Okay. Let us see. You're gonna need to hit the street for this one to see how this plays out for you.
Alrighty.
That's not right.
Sounds familiar. Would you remind me what stat I should roll for that?
Style.
Which I don't have a lot of, so
It's all good.
let's see if the dice are happy with me right now. Yeah, I got a +0 on style. All right, wish me luck, everybody.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Be
2
worse
on
to be
1,
negative.
and is that? That's 3. That's 5 on another one. That's perfect
7.
7.
Eight.
Imperfect 7, but you know.
All right, so you're going to get what you want. First of all, you're going to get your forged documents.
Nice.
Let's see here. So I need you to choose 2 from the following list.
All right.
Your request is going to cost you extra. Your request is going to take some time to put together. Your request is going to attract unwanted attention. Your contact needs you to help from your contact needs you to help them out with something. Pick 2.
Cost is in credits, right?
Probably yes.
All right. I'll eat that one.
Okay.
And Larry's gonna want some help back.
Okay, so mark off 4 credits.
Will do.
This gets expensive very quickly when you pick those sort of options, but it's probably worth it. And so we're going to move on to someplace else. Give me just a second here. There we go. All right. Larry has a whimsical feel. So first of all, mark Larry as a contact on your sheet. Larry the forger, let's say. The procurer. Of course, to actually make physical documents in this case is a bit more complicated.
He's very analog.
Yeah. It's a bit more complicated than simply the way it used to be, just finding the right weight of paper, bond, etc., and using the right stock and ink, etc., and making the right, and making all of it play out correctly. At this point, a lot of things are built on custom materials for certain kinds of passes or badges, or have barcodes or other materials, so it's actually fairly expensive to get physical documents, durable one. So let's go over to Larry's home base. Larry's personal favorite is a tour boat, which is designed to take in local yokels who are attempting to look for a gambling location. He has had someone fix up an actual old-timey steamboat and uses it to cruise up and down local riverways into the Badlands and back because no one's watching when you're out in the middle of nowhere. And it's also a really great way for you to get information from people. He's sitting up at the front of the bow in an area that's blocked off by a large velvet rope, so that he has complete privacy. And
well, isn't it glass? I thought the reality would have done you in a long time ago. You're like you're older than me. That's your message.
A number on you too, isn't it?
Yeah, but I look great. You look like you skipped over the graveyard and went straight to the tombstone with your face. Anyway, I got your request. I got what you need right here. I just got a little problem I need you to deal with.
Your face?
My face is excellent. I look in a mirror, a real mirror, not some sort of polished up synthetic thing with cameras every morning, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, you've always been the analog type, haven't you? So what's going on?
Alright. So,
he picks up a comically large cigar, sticks it in his mouth, and lights it with an actual wooden match.
So, oh, that's good. That's a good stuff. Yeah. So you want these documents so you and your friends can get in someplace that we're not going to talk about. I got that. That's pretty good. I need some help. Yeah. I'm gonna need you to.
He passes you shows you a box.
I'm gonna need you to put this right outside the front door to the main entrance for the main building.
And it's just a nondescript, looks like a plastic credit card scanner.
Right to the right of the door, just about 3 inches above the doorknob. On the frame.
Any chance you're gonna tell me what it is?
Nah. You're up and, you're gonna do me a favor. That's why I only charge you half price. Do you know what it takes to get custom documents to get into that place?
Well, I came to the right man for the job, boss.
All right, you did. We got a deal?
What's this gonna do?
Nothing that's gonna get tracked back to you or anybody's gonna care about. Once they find out, they're probably gonna get rid of it.
I just have
Hey,
a very serious
quit it
question.
with a steam horn.
I got a very serious question for you about this.
What's that?
Is anybody gonna get hurt over it?
Nah. It's what do you call? A skimmer. Yeah. You just put it outside building side doors, and people swipe stuff because they think it's important, and turns out it just saves the data from whatever card they swiped.
I can live with that. I like data myself.
Call it paying it forward. Someone else is gonna want to get in there at some point, and having a backup database will help. That's the deal. Standard rates apply.
Not as analog as I expect for you, but I get it.
Oh, I'm not doing it.
For the times.
I'm gonna trade it for someone else for some really hot stuff. Do you know what it's like to get number 2 pencils in this day and age? You gotta trade some really good stuff for that.
Tell me about it.
Oh, graphite. I love you.
Glass rubs his head over his ear where he used to have a pencil. Fond memories, that. Long time ago. Phantom pain, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Long time ago. In a place far, far away.
Well,
All right, Glass. See you now.
see you around.
See you around, stranger. Hope that face doesn't fall any further, or you're gonna be cleaning it off your shoes.
That's so good.
Well, yeah.
Well played, Glass.
I love the banjo.
Yeah, I was admiring that as well.
Late Mail Games, and here's another one from them. Back into the.
Awesome old-timey vibe.
Alrighty, so I think we have 2 more people who want to do stuff. Glitch Foo, did you have any plans or anything you wanted to do?
Say me.
Seamus? Glitch Foo? That's you?
Yeah. I could do what I did last time and do some digital reconnaissance on the place.
Okay. This is one of those scenarios where it's going to be a little bit probably harder. You're not breaking into a local fast food franchise. You're trying to get on base for a full-on military location, a military base. But it's within your power to do so. You are the console cowboy, the guy who goes full bore at any system, and you've burned a couple of big ones in your life. So, lots of options available to you. let me make a quick. That's where I'm looking for. And let's put you back in the Matrix, and we'll see what happens. We are definitely going to have some culture or certainly time period shock here. We're going to go right from the steamboat to this here printing press, right into the Matrix. So. Come on. And here we go. All right. So, Seamus adopts his persona's glitch foo, casting aside his meat sack body for the purity and power and precision of the digital universe. The world creates itself and builds itself in multi-neon Technicolor pixels, blocky, exact, perfect, no need for uncanny valley. It's a better, more precise 2D version of itself world with holograms, synthetic representations of the various buildings and nodes and people around you. And the location they've given for you is an off-center Mac-Dash military base, which is going to require you to do console cowboy. Ta-da!
Ooh, got 8.
All right, does that include your bonus?
It does indeed, unfortunately.
All right, so you get 1 hold. That'll be useful.
I did better last time.
You did better last time. That's true. You built up a pretty good advantage. Right now, you're gonna have to blow past security, which is gonna require you to go plus edge. Or you said you're trying to do a basic assessment in security, so you can also attempt to do assess in this case, which would be plus edge. Or if you want to research commonly held databases and other materials, you can do plus int or plus mind if you're just trying to research stuff about the location itself.
I don't know if it would really. I think we probably would be better off with information about like the actual security and stuff. So knowing about the building is not going to really help us much.
All right. So are you going for information about the base in general, or are you trying to get specifics by hacking into the base's security and computer network itself? The first one is sort of a passive research, and the second one is an active hack attack.
Let's go for broke.
Going all the way?
We're going all the way.
Wow. All right. So, give me just a moment here.
Let's mind wipe Seamus.
Oh boy. And here I thought this is one of the sessions that wouldn't involve Seamus as aggressively involved. It appears I was wrong. Alright, so as you're looking at the current system, you find the location of the metaverse information. There's some very specific controlled data lines which are leading into the Mac-Dash base. And as soon as you enter the base, you can tell that it's not that you've left the Matrix, but you're on what would be called like an isthmus, which leads directly into Mac-Dash territory. And your first indication is as soon as you walk in, you hear the standard "Everybody loves Mac-Dash." McDonald's. No matter where you go, can't escape it. It's the login sound for every single Mac-Dash employee onto their system, over and over again. So you've logged on to the common public node for their general services in this vicinity. That's not unusual. You're seeing a lot of variable, it looks almost like red, blue, and in a couple cases, black protective ice spread across the virtual location of the base. The base takes the form of a set of almost like a pyramid. You've got a line of blue at the bottom, the biggest square, which forms a foundational base. There's a slightly smaller blue level, which is slightly smaller and built on top of that. And there's yet a smaller red level, 3 levels of red above that. And up towards the top, there is some black. For what you're trying to go into for basic location and just the base materials, you're going to have to get through some of that red in order to get inside and see what's going on inside the base itself. And that's going to require you to roll plus edge, or, well, let's see what happens with that. So give me a 2d6 plus edge.
That would be a 7.
7. All right. So you get +1 hold. You're going to need to spend that 1 console cowboy hold, but if you do that, you can bypass the main security section. And in doing so, because remember we talked about before that like blue is level 1, red is level 2. You need at least 2 hold in order to do it. But that breaks you past the security entirely and into the main section of the Mac Dash, inside the Mac Dash area.
So does that mean I have no hold right now?
You have 1. You have compromised control over it, so you've gained extra hold. You're now inside the Mac Dash area. Again, as you enter this particular location and dig deeper into the actual employee records and the guts of the base, you get the standard triggered sound.
Everybody loves Mac Dash.
I'm gonna have to change that at some point.
It's actually a required part of their code lines. When everything is supposed to be auto-triggered and they have the files individually, you're going to have to develop a purge program to actually run down every example of it. It's actually
to put on the to-do list.
Yeah, it's a popular sport online, actually. All right, so you enter the cross through the red ice. This is pretty big. You haven't actually done anything this big in a while. And while you haven't burned the whole base, you're inside the Mac Dash location. The inside, instead of looking like a multi-blue, red, and black pyramid, appears to have a wireframe outline of the base itself laid out as if it's an old-timey sort of model train layout. And literally it looks like Lionel pulled it out and put the images down with real-life 3D pictures and rendering down on a board, took the flock and the glue and the paint and very carefully painted up each building from a plastic pre-printed set, glued it together, and put it. The bottom of the area looks like a piece of plywood. You can see the tracks where main roads and automated equipment move around. And you can see, instead now of looking at the external parts of the security, you can see the individual buildings and locations that you're dealing with. There are a couple of freeware and areas that you have compromised hold over. So you have +1 hold right now. And then there are a couple areas which are still iced off to you because you haven't compromised their baseline security. The building that you're looking for off to the side appears to be you're looking at the train model, and it looks to be almost looks like a water tower that's been dug into the ground, except it's not held entirely off to the ground. It looks like one of those old Western water towers, like the big wooden barrel almost up on stilts. But this one has some part of its structure which connects with the ground. and it's very beautifully rendered in this world. The location itself appears to have physical elements to it, and internal has other database nodes and other material, but basically the only thing you can access from here without being physically present are some of the more physical controls, like the doors, the environmental controls, and stuff like that. So in order for you to access this, you're going to need to roll plus synth, which I believe for you is a +1, or you can assess the area, again, which would be plus edge. Your call. Or research data. What are you looking to do here?
Let's go with, well, either way, it's a +1, regardless of retrieve edge or synth. So we'll just go with synth.
All right. Gonna physically try to log in. Go for it. Roll.
Ouch! I got a 6.
All right. So you can spend your last hold to get in if you want.
I'll do that.
All right.
Probably regret it.
Because of the other options you've taken before, you get an additional +1 as a byproduct of that. So you have just +1, but you're in, and you can attempt to make future synth rolls with this. This is not pretty. As you're attempting to interface with the water tower and get an idea of the security and entrance systems, you have to bash your way through the whole thing. It's pretty unsubtle as things go. And but you do be able to make your way in. You have compromised hold, and you're sitting at the location waiting for the rest of the team to get there. This is a much more protected zone than you expected. The controls tend to indicate that there are multiple levels to this building with a central lift of some kind, and then there are several subnodes for things like laboratories and office space at different levels. You'll need someone else to give you physical presence to tell you what these refer to, but you have one free move, and after that you're going to have to roll again. But good job. You've positioned yourself virtually at the location. Glass has gotten you potential documents to get you past. You have one research hold. Amethyst, you've been very patient so far. Is there anything you would like to do?
I have a couple things. I want to declare contact too. There's one thing I want to look for because
yes, I love this part.
Yes, I know it goes so well for me always.
No,
so
go for it.
So the first thing I want to find, because Amethyst isn't used to things going completely wrong, so she's trying to prepare this time. So
Sure.
I want to find some kind of backup plan in case this shit hits the fan. So what I'm thinking is a very discreet, maybe perfume bottle looking device that is a gas dispersion device that will literally just knock a person out on the spot. Like just poof.
Okay.
Out. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to do. Do I need to roll hit the street for that, right? I think that's correct.
Yeah, generally. If you want to declare a contact, what's your contact's name?
I think for this one, let's see. Can we come up with some techie, I don't know. Maybe we'll go with another gym.
You want a techie type thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a fancy gas and a discrete dispersion device. I don't know.
There's a guy who deals in off-brand weaponry. His name is Power Strip.
Oh my god, I love it. Okay, got it.
What can we do here?
Let me see. The street is style.
I believe that's my style, which is your.
Yes, that's my strength. Yeah. Let's see. All right, I got a 6 + 2, which is an 8. Not terrible.
It's not terrible.
But, Could be better. Could be better.
All right. Well, as much as I enjoy being in the hub, where Seamus is currently, we're going to leave Seamus for a second. We are going to transfer over to Actually, let me figure out what you actually get in this case.
Okay.
Okay, so you get what you want. So you're getting your immediate knockout gas device. You do not get anything extra. 7-9, choose 2 from the list below. It's going to cost you extra.
I know.
It's going to take some time to put together. It's going to attract unwanted attention, complicator, etc. Your contact needs should help you out with something. Choose 2.
Let's go with unwanted attention and contact needs help with something. There's no winners here. There's none.
Good stories are not built on perfect outcomes 100% of the time.
This is true.
So, Power Strip, as he is known, does most of his business out of a orbital transfer dock. He basically has permanent rent on one of the pods that circulates up and down the beanstalk that goes into space that NGO runs. And he has his meetings here because it's hard for people to bug things externally because they get destroyed by vacuum or cosmic rays, and the ones inside he searches for. He's a Weasley little guy with an extra set of arms that have been biografted under his existing arms, each with a data port hacking set, and the other one having a weird suction cup gravity claw attached.
So, you amethyst. You're wanting you're wanting the good stuff. The really good stuff, right? I hear you've been having problems on the street. That true?
Oh yeah, baby. You know we got some salty dealings with some friends of mine.
I don't like dealing with people who don't have enemies. It means they haven't taken any risks in life. Yeah. It's really important to find people that are salty. Salty people get stuff done. You don't make people mad. You're not living life to the fullest. And you're not making me any money. How?
Well, then today I'm your girl.
Am I correct in saying that you're looking for a general area dispersion incapacitant?
That's correct.
Ah, that's high tech, man. That's up there on the weapons technology levels. I think, how was it? Yes Group. Yeah, they did something like that, but I really think what you're probably looking for is something that not Time Roger. They did that thing, but that didn't work very well. Yeah, that didn't come out well. Yeah, you're looking for the Cerberus Toys R Us model 57. It's just known as 57, because that's the number of people that were incapacitated at the time it was used in a large elevator where people were playing an after party after a concert. I don't know how they got 57 in there, but they took that many people unconscious afterwards. That's what you're looking for, right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, here's the deal. I can give this to you at let's say at cost. Shouldn't cost too much really if you have a backup plan. There's 3 charges that you can use. I normally give you the small, what we call the street model for civilian use, designed to be one and done. But you're a good customer. Anyone who doesn't, who Jacques doesn't like, seems to be doing some good stuff in life. You know what I mean? I heard you made the wall. Good job. My favorite friends have made the wall. Son of a bitch. Hate that son of a bitch. All right, so the deal is, I need you to get pictures when you use it. Pictures. And I'm gonna publish them to certain people. So, it's gonna get used, and they have to be undoctored. My people will be able to tell if they are, and I'll lose credibility. Understand?
Yeah, I think I got just the right cyberware for that job. All right, I
Okay.
can do that.
Yeah, I need pictures, and I need you to bring them back to me afterwards. That means that we're gonna have to trust each other. I'm gonna have to trust you to get me the real thing, and you're gonna have to trust that I'm not gonna screw you over. Now, I think we both know that both of us want you to be successful, so I can get the marketing materials I need. Yes?
Oh yeah.
So, good choices. All right. 3 credit, and you got a deal.
All right. She reaches out her hand to shake, and
Yeah.
Pleasure doing business with you.
The gravity pod is going up and down the beanstalk. He offers you a bulb, since they don't have glasses, of some bright ruby and red liquid that has little synthetic holographic fire sprites dancing around inside the bottle.
My newest import, straight from Mars. Yeah.
Well, this looks gorgeous.
Oh, it's amazing. It's a red planet Cosmo. Okay, great.
I'm looking forward to using it.
2 of these and you'll be in orbit. Good stuff. That good stuff. You tell him Power Strip takes care of the real deal wheelers and dealers. Power Strip has the good stuff.
Oh, don't you worry, baby. You take care of me, and I'll take care of you.
Yeah, I think I saw a musical about that. All right, let's go.
All right. And that's you had said you had one more thing you wanted to do. Is that right?
Yeah. I want to do one more thing. I want to use my where is it? Oh, where is it? There it is.
You can declare an contact if you want. That is your option.
Yeah, that or I know. Do I have to use I know people, or is that later?
You talking about the reputation that you have?
No, that's separate. I have one called I know people. Let me see. Once per mission, you can introduce a new contact, name them, and say what they do, or is that for something else?
So,
well, let me tell you what I want to do.
Okay, fair enough.
That might help. I want to hire somebody to figure out what Jacques is up to, just on the down low, so I know.
I see. So you're gonna try
coming back to get me later. So
trying to get intel on Jacques. So you would declare a contact on this. So what it is that everybody has the option of declaring contact. It's a basic move, but they can only do it once per game. You have the option of doing it twice.
Okay.
So typically, what that means is that if you want gear, intel, or other things, in order to declare a contact that's going to be a recurring character that maybe you have some influence with, you can do that. But it's harder to hit the street and get things done if you don't know the person in advance, that kind of thing.
Okay.
If you want information on Jacques, that is a thing you can attempt to do. What person are you attempting to contact to do that?
Okay, I did come up with a name for this person. I just wanted to name them Zephyr, and I want them to be like a sort of a very sneaky, stealthy kind of hide in the shadows person who's very good at this. So hopefully this role.
Very
works.
sneaky?
Yeah. Very sneaky.
Sneaky.
You got it.
Oh
my
my god.
What's the plan? You're looking for Zephyr? All right, so I'm assuming you're going to hit the street, mark them on your contact.
Yeah.
Information gathering.
Let's see if this goes well. Oh, god damn it. I cannot win.
What's your roll there?
I just got 4 plus 2, 6.
6 it is. So the only way this is going to work for you is if you also roll the reputation move. Now, I only mention this because if you roll badly on this one, you're lining me up for a bunch of Rube Goldberg domino type effects on the scenario. Is your choice whether you want to roll.
Oh my god, how does that work?
Do you have the
roll
reputation
edge.
move?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have 1 edge, plus 1 edge. I mean, can it? I don't know. You know what? Let's just try to
All right.
make things spicy.
That's right. We're only doing this for one more session. How bad could it get?
Yeah,
You can
yeah. I mean, I could
always
die,
make
so
it. That's right.
yeah, it's fine. Okay. Come on, dice gods, be kind to me. I got an 8 plus 1. I got a 9. Okay, that could
Alright.
that could have been worse. I think.
Let's see.
Let's see. Is that a hit? 10 plus. 9. It doesn't say. Do you have to get a 10 plus?
Let's see what it says. Do. Alright, so we've actually done this in kind of the backward way this is supposed to work. The final thing you were supposed to do in this case for declare a contact is you're supposed to roll again. Let's see here. I know people. And so roll style one more time for me. This is actually gonna, if this works out, it'll all work itself out for you.
If I have 2 styles, so maybe. I got a 7 plus 2, so I got a 9.
A 9. All right. So all right. So Zephyr may or may not be a contact for you. But here's the thing. They're an unknown quantity for you, but because you have reputation, the way this interaction is going to work is thusly. For your I know people move. You rolled a 7 to 9, which means they don't know you very much and you don't know them. For your hit the street, you rolled a total of a 6. And for your reputation, you got a +1 as a byproduct, which means that 6 turns into a 7. So your hit the street option works. You get to essentially pick 2 options as we just did for the other for your for Lenny the power strip essentially. So I need you to pick 2 again, and then we'll get that for you. Your request is going to cost you extra. It's going to take some extra time. It's going to attract unwanted attention. Going to need you to help them out with something.
I'm going to go this time with it's going to cost me extra and hope I have enough, and it's going to take some time. I have 6 credits, so I'm hoping.
All right, well, it's going to cost you 4 of those.
Okay.
And it's going to take some extra time. All right, so let's go see Zephyr. What kind of person is Zephyr? Just from your experience or what you know of them? Know anything?
We'll say Zephyr is. Do we have like part androids in this? Like maybe somebody who's very, very cyber enhanced. How about that?
Very cyber enhanced. Okay.
Yeah, very cyber enhanced. Very good at reconnaissance. Like that is their forte, and they love it. There we go.
All right, let's do this. All right, Zephyr is one of the few people that has opted to do something which most people would not voluntarily do, and do not, in fact. They have detached themselves from a physical body, allowing most of their internal organs and external components to be replaced by truly cybernetic functionality. It's a long, difficult process, and if you do it too much, it can cause serious problems if various diseases and physical rejections take place, because after a while, you're just a brain attached to a bunch of synthetic nerves and other options. But they've seemed to have managed it. And they are currently plugged inside a large power core, and that's where you end up meeting with them. The center of a field, it's a giant Faraday cage, is where you have this meeting. There's a large, very thick piece of bulletproof, reinforced trauma glass in front of you, and behind it is a body in a massive 3-meter tall cybernetic war body that's sitting up top with the absolutely beautiful, model perfect face of a young woman with long blonde and green alternating ringlets, as if straight out of a 1980s chewing gum or a shampoo commercial. The body is bulky and yet smooth, with the curves of something that's been modified over synth metal, various pneumatic and other components, and the external arms and other parts have been covered with armor plating, matte black, with the logos have been polished off, and various weapon systems and mating points, hard and soft points for other equipment have been added on, including a giant, what appears to be a long-range anti-materiel missile launching system off one arm, and a minigun on the other. It's both very attractive in its own way and almost uncanny valley, because the person is hooked up with so many cords and biometric supports to the central tube that it looks as if the only thing keeping them alive is a bevy of high-tech equipment. So threatening and yet somehow weak and supported at the same time.
Okay. Amethyst, walk in basically and look around. Maybe she's met this person before briefly, and says, "Oh, hey, honey,
You're
you looking
Amethyst.
very." Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You're Amethyst.
That's right.
I've heard of you.
Well, that's good news. You look very. He looks around. You look very spicy today.
Adjective noted.
I got a favor to ask for you. Well, not really a favor. I got a job for you.
Job. Job pays.
Yeah, that's right. Job pays. We got a friend I would like you to look in on. Let's just say he's not very friendly toward me right now, but I would like to understand him a little bit more, and I think you can help.
Okay. Continue.
All right. I guess she hands him or hands Zephyr a device with all of Jacques' info, maybe some of their conversations and things like that on it, and lets Zephyr do their thing.
The tube and off on one side of the wall pops open, kind of like the bank teller drive-throughs that we have in the in the 2000s, and you're allowed to put a thing. You're nowhere near any direct contact. You sense that you're not even on the same air supplies as they are. And it gets sucked in. You can see behind Zephyr an object. The object is brought in to some sort of scanning device off camera, and various laser beams and cameras run over it, analyzing it and grabbing the data. It never actually, the scans and all the materials are beamed to a screen in front of Zephyr, and looks over it.
This seems less than what I would have expected. What do you want to know?
I'd like to know who he hangs around with, who he's talking to about me, and what his plans are to exact his revenge, because I'm on his wall. Oh.
This is an intelligence gathering operation.
For now.
Lethal force is not authorized. Understood. Is this covert or overt?
I think we're going covert on this one.
Stealth is mandatory. Non-lethal force. Covert options. Body 6725 authorized.
And what choices did you pick for this one, Amethyst? Of the two, it was takes longer and
Pays extra, cost extra.
Cost extra.
Yeah, it was 4. I think you said 4 credits.
This is going to be a time-consuming process. I cannot do quick observation for a time-lapse mission.
Well, that'll be just fine. You get back to me as soon as you get done.
If you want data, it is going to cost 5 credits, standard mission.
All right.
Jock will not know I was there. I will have a complete dossier by the next time we meet. Lethal force
you.
not authorized. Are you sure?
For now, we'll revisit it after I look at the dossier.
Second mission. Continuing retainer. Noted. Have a good day.
All right.
All right. And that takes us to 452, ladies and gentlemen. We have 1 intel token unspent. We have a hacker sitting in the center of a MacDash base, barely in control, but sitting on top of your entry point in the location you're supposed to get to. And we have a reporter with some forged documents in Amethyst who has a 3-shot knockout gas for your group. Does anyone want to do anything before we move on to mission mode?
I think we're good.
All good?
Yep.
All right.
I think so.
Yep.
I love sound effects. Maybe a little too much. All right, so let's talk about your. Is that what I really want to do? Yep. Give me just a second here. Feel free to refresh your drinks, use the men's or women's room, or whichever one you would prefer for a moment. All right.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of minutes, and
It's
be right back.
it's not even gonna be that long unless you need to go.
A couple of minutes.
Yeah, we can take a couple minutes. It's fine. And Amethyst, I will have something for you at the next session. We'll start off with your intel briefing.
Oh, boy.
Because Zephyr does good work.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Alright. I love the power station background. It's great.
It definitely sets a vibe, and I totally imagined that whole thing in my head. It was great.
Yeah. What? Well, that's good. All right. Well, Hydra says that I've queued up the right music, so I'm going to pour myself a splash of Jameson coffee, and we had to close the door to keep my cats from interrupting the game, as they are wont to do. Well, one of them is anyway. And there you go. Seamus / Steven, did you have any questions? We've ended up having to go around the table a couple times. Are you missing anything? You good with your current location and resources? Silence. Nothing.
All right, glass is good to go.
All right. So are we all here? We've got Glass. We've got Amethyst. Seamus, are you here? Seamus? Steven? If you're talking, I can't hear you. Seamus. Anyone see anything on his camera?
No camera, not muted. Might be away for a minute.
Alright, well, it is now... Still have a couple minutes until I had budgeted for the true craziness to happen. When Seamus comes back, alias Glitch Foo, we are going to hit the military base full on. You guys are going to... Glass, I'm assuming you and Amethyst are physically going to try and penetrate the external security cordon and get into the building itself. Are you renting a car? How are you getting on site?
I feel like a car rental would be a pretty normal thing for Amethyst, so that seems fine. Something nice, maybe something that blends in with the area.
Okay. So car rental.
So Blind Toes says beer glasses emoji and donut emoji. That sounds pretty good.
That
to me.
sounds good. Yeah.
Beer and donuts? If anyone's watched the first episode of the original Dukes of Hazzard, that is what they have for breakfast.
Oh.
Beer and donuts.
That is a nice breakfast.
Beer and donuts? Really?
Yeah. Boss Hog has like liver in a diner.
Oof.
You can tell this is done in like the 80s. None of these are approved dietary choices in today's world.
Yeah.
For various reasons. Alright, well, we have our hacker back. We have our group ready to rock and roll. I think it's time to change to mission music. Yep, there we go. Alright, so our group has done their work. They have gotten their gear. They've won Intel token uncached, which they can use during the game. And now it is time to execute the plan. They're going to penetrate the security cordon. And they're going to, or at least that's a plan. They're going to move on the base to the building, and they're going to attempt to get into the underground base or other part of the location and secure the sample. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move. I'm going to turn the volume down slightly. As the camera moves around and scans the area, we realize that we're moving out of the Sprawl itself. A quasi-tracked vehicle, which looks very much like a Bradley fighting vehicle, with giant, oversized, reinflatable tires and back treads, tank treads on the rear side, leaves the safety of the urban sprawl and goes over a synthetic maintained roadway that's built clearly to maintain this particular military base. And inside, Glass and Amethyst are maintaining their current location, driving and zipping past several gangs, a couple of mutants who are standing out in the Badlands, and drive out towards the remote military base. The camera cuts briefly over grills, spotlights, headlights, radar dishes. You get a picture of Glass's intense, deep-set, tired eyes as he looks over the wheel and drives the vehicle down. Amethyst checking on a PDA and a list of contacts, making sure that her organizations are ready and verifying the technology, as well as grabbing her gas dispenser and make sure it's an easy draw range, but also doesn't impede her profile. Various pieces of cyberware and other equipment are set up, and the last thing that the group, that the camera switches to, is a digital representation with a blinking light that says "You are here," and it represents, in this case, Glitch Foo sitting right on top of the objective, hovering with one hold left, ready to effect one success before he has to approach the unmitigated tyranny of the die roll. Drive up to the military base in front, in which you see two side-by-side pill bunkers with defenses designed to keep conventional vehicles off and keep it from being rammed. The external build security cordon itself appears to be set up with alternating mines, laser and motion detectors, solid various pieces of physical and terrain-based obstructions, and would have been very difficult to penetrate without a lot of effort. Glass drives up, says nothing. The guard looks over. Papers, authorization, passes them the documentation. One moment, please. Pulls the materials back in, steps into the guard shack. There's the scanning light of a laser scan, checking. Comes back out, passes them the documents. You're cleared, sir. Have a good day. Oh, and sorry about this. It's protocol.
Everybody loves Mac Dash. McDonald's.
And you're back in the military base. Entry achieved. The building you're looking for is directly is several miles inside the interior of the base. Again, the camera skirts by, seeing side views and turns of the all-terrain transport vehicle you've rented, zipping around corners, being passed by jeeps and other hover vehicles and MacDash branded equipment, a couple of tumbleweeds, and a few areas that look like training zones and deployment centers and depots for equipment. At one point, you can see an entire division of MacDash equipped and set up mercenaries, all in the trademark camouflage they use, which has the gray and black M stylized in such a way that it blends into urban environments, with their stubby rifles, their half faceplate helms, and the basic tech gear, all designed for the classic golden M on one breastplate, or over the breastplate. And then you're on base. You're within a half mile of the building. What do you do?
Well, I think we would contact Seamus and make sure we're headed towards the correct building. But otherwise...
Hey, Glitch Foo, they're headed right for your virtual location, according to all the metrics you're looking at.
It looks like you're on the right track.
All right. The office building appears to be fairly nondescript. It's a single story. It looks more like a large reinforced pillbox, to be perfectly honest. The externals areas are covered by large steel shutters that are easily closed. There's also a front entrance area, which you can tell is also potentially closable and reinforced with blast doors and other anti-tamper devices. Currently, it's open. This looks like a standard, nondescript administrative building. What do you do?
As we're walking there, Wes looks back at the vehicle, looks at Amethyst.
This is why public transit isn't that great.
Yeah, can't disagree.
And would this be the building that Larry the artist is interested in? When I recognize it as such.
That would be the central building. It's farther into the complex.
Okay.
Which one are you going to go for first?
Yeah. We might want to take the opportunity of the open door here. What do you think?
Yeah. Smart play. Ease in like we belong here.
Can Seamus tell us what it is as we're walking up to it, this particular building?
What do I know, boss?
All right, there we go. All right, so first, let's bring on some music appropriate to the nighttime military base where you've currently infiltrated. The building itself appears to be, at least on the top, as I mentioned, an administrative location with very little direct applicability to any secret mission. However, based on, you can even hear the guard walking by in full kit in front of the screen. As the two of you have disembarked your vehicle, the top of it appears to be administrative office location. According to Seamus, or according for whatever Glitchfu can see from here, there's some sort of standard modules below that would indicate some sort of just the heating and cooling and the basic controls for climate for the area. And then there are 2 levels below that, at least from what he's seeing, that appear to be blacked off at this point.
Do I see any guards or anything?
From where you are right now? If you're accessing the cameras and the other systems for the building, which you can sort of do passively, there are no external guards at this point. It looks like if there are security measures, they're probably internal.
Looks like you guys are home clear. Just watch your step. I have a bad feeling about those things under the floor.
Blacked
I don't know
out
why you would
floors.
feel that way.
In my line of work.
That's the sort of thing the DM really loves to mess with.
Right. In my line of work, anything that's blacked out is really interesting.
Oh, of course. All the things people like to keep hidden. Those are the things that are most interesting about them.
All right, so what's the plan, guys? Are you going into the building? Are you going to try and plant Glass's skimmer, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, I kind of feel like, can we go and jog real quick to the other building, drop off the skimmer, come right back? Because I feel like we might want to do that before things start exploding.
I'm good with that.
In order to do this, I believe you have a move for this, Glass, under War Correspondent or something. Like you can use Edge instead of Cool for Act Under Pressure.
Yep. Let me roll for that then.
All right.
See what we got. That's 3. Ooh, that's 6. I makes a total of 11.
11.
Sweet.
So let's go. So no negative consequences. I'm gonna let you describe this if you want, Glass. There's a big central building. There are people in uniforms walking all around, and you, with your experience and whatever clothes you have chosen for today, have accomplished your goal. The base itself is covered in soldiers, people with weapons, security personnel, and other options. They're not super attentive, but you can feel that all it's going to take for you is one step out of line, and this whole mission is going to fall apart with you right in the middle and don't even have a press pass. How are you successful in this, and how does it play out?
Glass is an older guy, and you can tell, and he's been around and he's seen some things, and you can tell that too. And he's very serious, and he's walking right to the building like he belongs there. So anybody there, any of the young guys, the young soldiers, they're going to look at them, and they're going to think, I don't know who this guy is, but he must be important. And they're just going to stay out of his way while he does his thing. And no one's going to ask any questions, because if he looks that confident, and if he looks that beat up, he must have beat somebody up to get there first. So He's just gonna do his thing, and then he's just gonna walk right back.
All right. So Glass deploys the classic approach of many people in covert scenarios. They act as if it's everybody else's fault if they don't recognize him, and walks up very carefully, plants the adhesive, stamps the obvious technical device outside the building, looks around, and then turns back, doesn't look at anyone's face, and steps right back and walks back the half mile to the rest of your to your vehicle, to where Amethyst is waiting. Mission 1 accomplished. You will be getting experience, by the way, for most of these actions. Hey, Glass, you have, what is it, compassion for the people, and what's your second directive?
Yeah, compassion. And about that, I will note, I'm pretty sure this device, I made sure this device wasn't gonna hurt anybody.
Yep.
Otherwise,
true.
I wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless of
That's what Larry
consequences
told you.
with the
It's not gonna hurt anybody. Just a scammer. Yeah.
Otherwise revealing when you discover more information about BBC Mark experience.
All right.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Check. All right. So you guys are standing outside what appears to be a boring, single-level administrative building. You can hear the helicopters and vehicles and the planes moving all around you. MacDash is a busy military base, and although you're kind of off to the side, there's still people everywhere, and there's activity happening all around you. What do you guys do?
I guess we're just going inside, right? That cool with you, Glass?
After you.
All right.
All right. So the building itself, you guys enter. It appears to be one open floor with large, what we would consider executive offices surrounding the perimeter. In the center is a set of a huge farm of cubicles. It's probably enough here to cover maybe 300 people, with maybe 5 to 10 offices per wall, depending on what you're dealing with. However, as you walk directly inside, you can see that directly opposite you is not the main area of cubicles, but a central hub where there appears to be a lift. I mean, it's really kind of weird because you're in a single-story building. It also has the bathrooms. So if you go around this little hub section, you'll be able to see into the center that has all the cubicles. But right directly in front of you is a section that also has like the has a lift and the bathrooms and those elements. And now, based on this glitch foo, based on what you're seeing from their transmissions, you can kind of understand. It looks like that maintenance section that I was talking about before. That's probably below this level. There's probably 2 sub-levels below this that you haven't figured out what they are, but there are 2 sub-levels below this section that have higher security than you're dealing with right now. You can hear people in the cubicle farm muttering. Occasionally, MPs and other people drive by outside, but generally it's pretty quiet in here. What do you guys do?
Is there anything I can do to figure any extra detail?
You can physically try to compromise the building security a bit more, rolling plus synth if you would like.
I think I'd like to hold off on that until it's absolutely necessary.
Mission accomplished. I've gotten them afraid of making die rolls. Done.
Yeah, we're all afraid.
The joy
I'm
of...
afraid.
I mean, I don't have to do anything. It's not like I can claim victory for this skill-wise. I didn't do anything. It's just the dice. And I will say, I've run for 2 groups for this game, and I have not seen a single group that has not had a truly disproportionate amount of low rolls. It doesn't matter what method they use. So.
I have pushed my luck twice already. I don't want to do it a 3rd time.
But look where it's gotten you. I mean, heroes aren't born by people who take it safe and sleep in their beds at
That's what I
night.
was thinking the first time too.
And look what happened.
Well,
You were
exactly,
great.
yeah.
All right. All right. So
So
now
good.
I can only push players so far. It's its own subsport. Here we go. So directly in front of you is a lift that goes down, and you also have a bunch of administrative offices around you, and the cubicle farm on the other side of this hub. What do you guys do, Amethyst and Glass?
Well, do we want to take the direct approach and head for the lift, or something more covert and find like an access panel maybe for this lift? I don't know. That's a thing.
Did anybody seem to notice us when we walked in? Did anybody care?
Nope. There isn't a direct line of sight on this particular area. The only reason you know about the rest of it is there's a map of the building, which seems really stupid considering it's a one-floor building that literally, if the map is correct, you'll step around this hub, and there's an open plan cubicle farm that covers everyone. You know, cover their face when they're sitting down, but as soon as they stand up, they can all see over it like prairie dogs. And then the like you'll be able to see every external office because as soon as you stand, they're all around the edge of that cubicle farm built into the external walls. So having a map is kind of dumb. I mean, anyone who turns the corner isn't going to need a map. It's a map for what's ostensibly a one-story building.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it says.
FYI, if I had rolled, I would have failed hard.
Oh yeah?
Oh my.
I got a 4.
Oh my.
Reinforcing the
Well, maybe
paranoia.
next time.
Really noted. There's plenty more chances for that. Don't worry. We'll get you there, shamans. All right, so I need you guys to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to go for the covert option? Are you going to, I heard discussion of looking for a separate access panel, the direct option of accessing the lift, and then there's other ways, depending on what you guys, resources you try to pull, or if you can develop another plan, what you could do.
Mm-hmm.
You are running,
We have paperwork,
down in
but
time. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how far our paperwork's going to get us, so. What do you think, Glass?
I think you're carrying 3 plan Bs.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
can afford
We
one
do
plan.
have it.
Okay.
Maybe you should take the Jeffries to. Oh wait, that's the wrong sci-fi.
I'd like to try and just stroll confidently to the elevator.
Okay, I'm on board. Let's go.
All right. There's a single pressure activated pad. It's a polished synth glass that's been put in place. It's not an elevator double set of doors like you're used to seeing in most modern places. This is a single sheet of reinforced armor plate. You push your finger onto the plate, and the plate, the door section of armored material slides back with the sound of pneumatic and air pressure changing as if it's almost like an airlock. And the inside of a perfect cube is rendered within. It's polished glass and obsidian inside. It's a little high tech, honestly, it's a little out of place for this military base, even if Mac Dash sprung for the good stuff. Inside, you can see what appears to be an optical scanner and a what appears to be a set of programmable buttons. It's not lost on you that the objective of this is probably not to keep people from getting to the right floor. It's if you don't know the code to get to the floor, you can't even identify whether you want to go up or down. So if you enter the wrong code, you're screwed. Same thing if you don't have the right retinal scan.
Can I get them that code?
I mean, so the thing is, you do have that one piece of intel, remember?
Yeah,
You can do that, or you can spend your hold and simply move the elevator itself. Your call.
I'll use the intel since nobody else is using it.
All right, you have full access to the codes. Hey, Glitch Foo, how did you come up with that?
Well, I watched somebody else do it on the feeds.
Ah, so you've been watching all along, and because you hacked your way in, you've just picked up the different codes from the system? Very
Yep,
nice.
basically, yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, you have the basic engineering for the system. It's done. You are now inside and in a nice climate-controlled area. Let's see if I can find something that'll be appropriate for this. You have the option of 3 different levels. There's option your current level. There's the next level down, which you're really sure is basically it's the maintenance area that covers like the atmospheric and oxygen controls and climate for the area. And then there are 2 sub-levels. You're not really sure what's down there because you don't have access to those cameras yet. You haven't been able to access that area. But you are sure that there's a level below the maintenance, and then there's 1 level even below that.
Would one assume that the maintenance atmospheric control would be for just the upper floor or the entire building?
On basis, from what you're looking at, it looks like it's for the upper floors. Or upper floor in this case, and the maintenance level.
That may not be useful for us.
Yeah.
May, but it may not.
On the
We
way
can just
out.
continue our direct path.
Yeah.
Go down to that. The level below the maintenance floor.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, so you're gonna try and keep going down, is that right?
Yep.
All right, so you're going, the question is, you need to punch in a specific code, so I need to know whether you're going to, let's call them there's option 1, which is the lower level below the maintenance level, or option 2, which is the lowest level down.
I assume we're going to try 1 first and see if we can get any intel on the lower level to see if we even need to go down there. If that's okay with you guys.
I say go for broke. All the way down.
Go for broke?
All the way down.
You're the one with
alright.
the giant building on top of you.
I mean, if you want
Alright.
to, let's go.
Alright, no one ever became a truly successful person by betting on the lowest possible outcome, right? Or that's probably what Glass is telling himself a lot of people have said over the years.
Yeah.
All right, so let me pick this here. That's what I want. All right. Hey,
He's thinking life's too short.
that's right. So, Glitch Foo, are you doing anything while this is happening? They're going to go all the way down. You don't currently have eyes on that location.
Is there, like, I guess maybe this might be the time to try and break further into the system.
Alrighty. Let's roll it. Synth. Synth is what you're looking for.
Let's hope this roll is better than the last one. Seven. It's a minor
Could be
success.
worse.
All right, so you had 1 hold from before, which you haven't spent. Because of your class, or in this case, your playbook, you also get a +1 when you gain further control, so that's another +1. And the 7 gives you +1 on top of that, so you have 3 hold over the more compromised system that you're currently working in order to deal with it in a slightly more manner. So, as the following happens, as you see your friends in the internal cameras from the lift go down, you take a look, and what you can see below is a huge. It looks like at first it looks like almost like you're back in the Matrix, and then you realize it's not. There's a lobby where the lift is going to let out, and then there's going to be a set of 12 10 by 10 armored plastic cubes with figures inside them. There's going to be directly in front of the lobby what looks like a computer station with some guy in a lab coat doing something with it. There's a security. There are 2 security guards walking around the cubes, and at the very back of the room, there appears to be some sort of enhanced, what you would call like a security station with armor plating, and there seems to be a guy inside with all these guys seems to have sidearms, or security guards seem to be professional Mac Dash security guards, and the figures um, in the in the spots or in these places, they aren't in these cubes. They aren't really what you'd call people. They're more like they look like cybernetic skeletons that have had parts bolted onto them and are stuck inside these clean rooms at this point. And there's a couple of them that have been laid out on a central assembly point directly in the middle where there's a bunch of machinery assembling and working on them. There's a light box over part of them. There's laser work inscribing the chips and precision molding them to very high tolerances, that sort of thing. So I guess the question is, what do you want to do there, Glitch Foo? You going to tell your friends about it? You going to do something about it?
Heads up, guys! You're about to head into Frankenstein's castle.
Oh boy.
So like, will they be seen as soon as the doors open?
As long as, so the thing is, as soon as if you want to think of it in terms of proximity to the lift door, as soon as it opens, the guy in the lab coat who's messing around with the security station is going to be very close. If he turns around, he'll see them immediately. Who's ever inside those 12 boxes will be able to see anyway, but they're probably under some sort of control, or like those, if they're even people or robots or something. As soon as one of the security guards turns a corner, they're going to be able to see, and it's pretty clear that who's ever in that armored security station at the back will be able to see regardless. It's their whole job to watch and be in place.
So I can't even delay the car.
I mean, you have complete control over the car. You're the ones who've been sending it down. So
if I delay it, like, it won't matter because like somebody's gonna see him basically.
It seems likely.
Can you kill the lights?
That might be kind of obvious.
So
something's gonna be obvious.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. If
I think you actually have a move for some of this, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean,
I'm just letting you know,
the
like
glasses have light amplification for.
No, I mean your playbook actually has a move for walking into dangerous positions and exposing information.
Oh.
Not saying you have to rely on it. I'm not telling you should make another die roll that might cause you problems. I'm just mentioning it's on your sheet.
I have gather evidence, and I have live and on the air, which is a very serious thing.
Hey, is there something I could like? Is there like a particular figurehead from this company that they would be particularly afraid of and may not necessarily know what they look like?
Maybe.
If I were to like send an emergency message to the person at the security terminal that says so and so is about to come down, you all better straighten up your act.
Straighten up your act? What are you trying to get them to do?
Basically just think they're a higher up. So they
you're building a cover for glass
they'll
and
basically be on guard for a boss and not for criminals.
So whatever Amethyst and the rest of the guys do, you want to be able to assist them by helping them by giving them backup to legitimacy to their paperwork and everything?
Yeah, basically make them look like somebody they should be afraid of for different reasons.
Interesting. That's going to be a help move, most likely, to whatever their rolls are going to be. So what I want you to do in this case is roll. Do you have links with either Amethyst or with? I thought you might have links with either Amethyst or with Glass.
I have a +2 with Seamus.
Yeah, I have a +1 with Glass.
All right, so you're going to roll +1.
Right.
Doesn't matter how well Glass thinks he's tight with Seamus. It matters
Okay.
how well the antisocial guy who literally for the last 2 sessions has never left his apartment. It's like done with it. All right, buddy. Let me see what you got.
2d6 +1.
Yep.
Oh, you guys
Wow.
are in. 13.
What you got? 10.
Sweet.
All right,
No,
you got a
13.
+1
Total 13.
and no side effects, which is shocking.
That was a critical. That was
pretty good. So the question is, are you guys gonna? The obvious moves in this case are go loud and try and shoot them out with your little pistols. You can fast talk and build a story, and Amethyst is probably your best bet for that. If you're just gonna try and literally just socially engineer your way into getting what you need, or do you want to try and do something else, depending on what Glass wants to do? Glass has a rather different toolkit than most players for this scenario, depending on if he wants to make this a story or not.
I'd like to see how it plays out with Amethyst, possibly fast talking with you guys. If we have
we can
some
try.
cover, right?
Sure.
So now we can just walk in,
You
walk
also
up
have
to
your gas bombs if you want to try and see if they work out.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
your call.
it's just one person, maybe. So if it doesn't work out,
I mean, it's that the lab guy and the guard.
There's 3 security guards and the lab guy.
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right, yeah, fast talk it is. Okay.
All right, give me
yeah.
+3. Give me a roll. Let's see what happens. And I need to know what your story is.
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to come up with it.
Wait, what are you trying to
Well,
accomplish? I
we're-
guess is
we're-
your question too.
We're important, right? We're coming in. We want to look at the goods. So I've brought a consultant with me, Glass, who knows about this stuff, is skilled at assessing how well a project is going. He's like a project manager. Well, we'll go with that. Project manager, excellent at what he does. So
Okay.
our mission is to come in and find out how the project's going. The super secret one, of course, in the back. And yeah. So
And what's the goal of you fast talking? Like, what are you trying to get from them?
we're trying to get them to let us come in and trust us so that we don't have to fight on the way in.
That's a given at this point. If you pull off your cover, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to fulfill your mission objective by super fast talking these guys. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that would mean that you're trying to get a sample of
Okay.
the a sample of the materials, and you also have a password that's supposed to get you help if you can access. And it just said you'll know them when you see them, and it has like a robot skeleton, like sort of hand drawn, which oddly
Okay.
looks really similar to the figures in the little rope in the cubicles. It's a password that will get you some assistance if you need it.
Okay. So yeah, fast talking back to this area to get the sample we need.
All right, so roll fast talk +3.
For
Plus 3.
validation, right?
That's right.
+3. It's
Yep.
actually 14. My one good roll, 5 and a 6.
All right,
Holy
so you
crap.
didn't need it after all. Nice job, Seamus.
What I'm here for.
All right, so you get your information. You walk out, and the security guards look over to you, and the guy. There's what you see immediately are 2 security guards marching in perfect unison, double checking, looking at meters, double checking their screens. Their weapons are perfectly positioned. All their Mac Dash paraphernalia and everything else is set correctly. Everything is set up correctly. As soon as you enter, a video screen lights up and you hear the standard image.
Everybody loves Mac Dash. McDonald's.
Which, for the record, probably most people disable as soon as they have the option of doing so. But this one's active. Everything, like the little guy in the lab coat, turns around very slowly. He very obviously gives you a look at giant spreadsheets full of data, which may or may not be what he's actually doing, but it looks really impressive.
Oh, hello. I wasn't expecting visitors. We've been working very hard down here. I'm sure you can understand. I got lost in my work for a second. How can I help you?
And he looks like he's got a classic, whereas you're used to seeing people right now who typically have either old, new devices and technology that are sort of camouflaged as old vintage pieces, or things that are so ridiculously modern. He just has some very well put together off the shelf equipment, like a visor, almost looks like a monocle that has a bunch of displays that's obviously being laser cast to his retina, and a bunch of other devices and small calibration tools on his belt. And he's looking at the computer bank behind him is full of data and information. And in front of you, you can also see the central. You can hear it right in the background right now. This giant robot assembly and perfection lab, which is working on making more of the devices which are stuck inside the cubicles.
Okay, I guess Amethyst would just go in and say, "My associate and I are here to sample the merchandise to see how the project is running and if everything is on track."
We're operating at peak efficiency at over budget at 110% of expected goal time and output. Why, I can assure you that even though we're not required to, we're exceeding all mandates. Just this way, please.
And he walks over and points out,
these are our current 12 prototypes, the ones that we're using for our, that we have set up for, let's say, substitutions for high-risk scenarios. These are operation, we have M for Marine, we have A for Army, and we have SO for Special Operations Substitutes. All of them,
and he points to, they're evenly divided, so there's 4 of each.
All of them have been hyper set up, and once they're completely operational, will be useful for substitutions for people, and should, at least at close work, once we've gotten the proper programming down, be completely operational. We've also, you can see here that we have a complete human skeletal structure, so with the proper technological implants, we'll soon be able to replicate a full human being who can actually pass for normal.
He seems very gesturing, like,
as you know, I patented most of this material and have been the lead developer on all of this.
And he points to the central manufacturing plant where there's one that's right off.
For example, here's our latest prototype. It's the SO572. It's our special operations model, which is good for infiltration and also for mass suppression.
And it's a human skeleton rendered in chrome and pixelated onyx with microchips imprinted and set into the plasterm steel and glass. The figure doesn't move, but it looks like one of those, almost like a reliquary skeleton from ancient Egypt that's been polished and ornamented, or something to the like, or maybe something from Dia de los Muertos, except it's rendered in high-tech chrome and carbon fiber. Laser lights and other equipment seem to set it up. And
now, currently, it's inactive, But you can see that this is an exact representation. Why, all you have to do is get the right synth materials to make it look human, and put the clothing on, and boom! He's ready to go! Or her! Your choice. Anytime!
I assume, do we know if this is the thing that we need a sample of, this particular one?
Yeah, you're looking right at exactly what was in the sample pictures.
Okay.
You're supposed to get one of these out. And now that you're looking at it, you can understand why this... So, it makes sense that someone asked you guys to do this because someone busting in here with a bunch of machine guns is going to get stuck in the middle of a military base and probably get overrun. It's a little bit harder than they first expected it to be, because this is a full-size person essentially, and also it's really fucking obvious. It's a skeleton. You can't walk down city streets with this, let alone down like a military base. I mean, your transport vehicle's right outside, but
yeah.
what do you? I guess the question is, what are you gonna do?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to look at him because I'm very confident. No, I know what I'm doing here. Well, this looks like the perfect sample we need to take to our overseers, our representatives who are funding this project. Let's pack it up. Let's pack it up and get ready to move it.
Are you sure? I mean, it's not been completely activated yet. It's just in the test phase. We have so much more work to do. I wouldn't want you to put out a product that would reflect poorly on this project yet. We're not at maximum efficiency. It's not ready for full deployment.
We're validating.
Validating. Proof of concept? Okay. You'll pardon me, but if you'll just sign here.
And a security guard comes forward with a digital pad.
Just a thumbprint so we can make sure that we have the right person?
So, to clarify something for me here. It's not like the password is for these androids, right?
It looks like that if you had to take a guess right now, the password is to quote "get you help," and there's a stick figure picture on the data file of like a robot skeleton type thing.
Oh boy.
Well,
We're not going to pass this thumbprint test, I don't think.
Just for future reference, can I make the robot talk?
You can try and hack in. Like, the robots themselves aren't currently attached to anything. They're not active. At least not the one that they're dealing with. There are subnodes and systems for each of the robots that are in the little private Faraday cubes. But you've currently got really good penetration into the physical facility itself. You haven't tried to do anything with the internal components of the lab or anything like that, but you've got the physical location.
But
Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're still programming these things though, so there's no they don't have any wires attached to them or anything.
There's no wires attached to them. He said that they are working on the software essentially. So presumably there is programming in place, and someone who had enough knowledge to get you guys a password to quote "get you guys help" unquote.
The way I'm reading the situation, what I see happening here, in a very flashy movie kind of way, which I guess is what we're looking for, is you cut the lights. Amethyst tells this future friend robot the password, and we walk out very quickly.
I mean, I'm fine with that. Also, should probably spray someone on the way out, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
probably the ones with the guns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I got
ideally
light amplification, so they wouldn't be able to see what's happening. But
you've got night vision then. That's fair.
Record that for you. Yeah, with the glasses.
All right, so you've got 3 hold, Seamus. Am I correct in saying that the plan is for Seamus to cut the lights?
Can I also make the chime go off?
The chime?
Repeat it. The mustache thing go off like just ad nauseum.
Chaos.
On a loop.
Very loudly.
All right, now I'm being trolled.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Do it.
You can.
Yep.
Can I even do that? Hold on a sec. Let me try something. I haven't done this yet, so.
Is there a loop feature? Are we about to be bombarded?
Everybody loves Mac Dash. McDonald's.
Aw.
We'll pretend it's Luke.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. Gonna do it. Oh no. Yes, you can.
Everybody loves Mac Dash. McDonald's. Everybody loves Mac Dash. McDonald's.
Don't know how I feel about this person, honestly.
All right, let's go.
Everybody loves Mac Dash.
At the very least. All right, so suddenly, the lights go off, the auto greet motion starts going, and everyone has the option at this point of
Everybody loves Mac Dash.
all right, I gotta stop this. I can't.
Everybody loves Mac Dash.
Stop. Oh, thank God.
Everybody loves Mac Dash.
Jeez.
That
Nice
moment when you
job.
break the
Nice
table.
job.
That's vengeance right
very
there. That's
distracting.
vengeance for Jock is what that is.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Karma.
Yeah.
All right, so enacting this, you guys operate and put it down, and looking at the current scenario, the lights go out, and just give me 1 second here to change. There we go. All right, that's what I want. And in doing so, you guys hear the lights go out, and I mean, the password in retrospect is pretty obvious, but you wouldn't have thought of it if it doesn't even make sense. It's just Cyberdyne, and there's a giant whirring sound as the Glass has goggles with some light amplification, so the green lighted and amplified skeleton of the creature activates and says, initiating full combat actualization online. Receptive to orders. Ready for action, sir. I'm the tip of the spear. Ready to go.
Oh, man.
Orders. Execution. Covert mission. Mass suppression of population. Search and destroy. Hunter killer. Sniper. Pick one. And the rest, there's people in the background who are like,
What is going on? Hey, oh no, it's active. Oh no.
security guards are like, this is bad, we're gonna get fired for this. Oh no.
Will someone turn that stupid entry alert off? I didn't authorize this. We're very sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, where did everybody go? Oh,
I'm gonna talk to the robot, say, covert operation, specific exfiltration.
Filtration.
Yes.
Exfiltration authorized. Follow. Follow. Unit 1. Mac Dash initiating.
Dead time for these folks here.
What was that? What was that, Glass?
Sorry, I think it's bedtime for these folks here.
Yeah. Okay. So do we want me to spray all of them? All 3 guards? All
I mean,
3?
you want the best pictures, right?
All right, you have a point. Sure. All right. Well, Amethyst takes her spray and looks at the gentleman with the guns, the guards. We have 3. She obviously is recording with her cyberware. And says, all right, boys, it's time to go night-night. And with 3 quick sprays, hopefully she just poops them in the face and they just fall over, take a nap. Night-night.
Enemy personnel neutralized. Minimal force. This.
All right, let's get out of here.
Collateral damage. No billing authorized. Exit. Lift ahead. Hack. Do you have entrance code? This would be your glitch foo.
I think I do.
Door opening. Additional resources on site. Categorized. Exfiltrate. Rise to ground level. Suppress enemy personnel? Question mark?
Glass
No,
every murder.
I think that's you guys. I think
He's looking for orders. Stepping
yes
into
is
the
answer.
Non-lethal action only.
full non-lethal action authorized. Engage. And the door's closed. The bot shimmies up to with magnetic clamps, walks its way up to the ceiling until it's hovering over the top of the door where no one can see it when it opens again. And you can see, Glass can see this from light amplification. Millimeter wave what looks like some sort of laser or LiDAR is pulsing down from its body over the door. Checking for potential intruders. No camouflage in area. Door is clear for open. Unit 1 ready. Doors open. There's no one up front. Unit 1 hops down. Exiting location. Exfiltrate to destination? Question mark.
Let's get to the car.
Get to the car. Designate vehicle. Model, design, military, rental, civilian, commercial, prototype.
All right. Rental, military.
Military
model.
rental vehicle. Designated. Proximity. Feet, miles, kilometers, hours. Designate.
I love the unit options. That is excellent.
No. I would say we were like, what, 50 feet outside the door from here or something like that, right?
Hide. Millimeter wave radar active. Significant. Civilian military contractor personnel identified outside a building. Suppress all? Question mark.
Hold on, suppression.
Suppression temporarily withheld.
I want to walk out.
Parameters. Engage.
I would like to walk out with the robot
Okay.
and roll for live on air.
Oh boy. Oh wow. Holy
Let's
shit.
make it spicy.
And I hope that goes really well. Let's see. That's gonna be edge, of course, right? All right. What are the bad consequences? Let's see. Worst case scenario, the robot kills everybody, right?
Including us? Question mark?
Yeah. Oh no. All right. I rolled 6 with my modifier.
What's that again?
6 with the modifier. Total of 6.
Oh no.
Okay.
Warning. 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 Warning.
Lethal
This is a
force
covert mission. Your equipment is not authorized for a covert mission, and he grabs your recording material and smashes it.
Oh
Mission
no.
is not fully covert again.
Oh my god.
That
Could have
seems
gone
fair.
worse. Could have gone worse.
Mission personnel who deviate from mission objectives will be suppressed.
Oh man.
Do not violate mission authorize again. We are fully engaged in mission. Acknowledge compliance. Acknowledge compliance. Acknowledge compliance.
Acknowledge.
Countdown to discipline. 5.
Acknowledge. Exfiltrate.
Acknowledged.
This robot's
Teammates
not playing
crushed.
games.
Not authorized. Rechecking. Checking. Mission covert. Objective. Vehicle. Military. Rental. 50 feet from identified. Covert scenario. Re-engaged. Potential disclosure. Foiled. Back to vehicle. Now. Mission 1. Engage. Vehicle starts walking forward towards the rental vehicle, and a very odd whistling sound, as if it's like the Andy Griffith thing, as if he's trying to be covert, comes out of the speakers.
Alrighty.
And you guys are back in the vehicle. That is, you have no problem escaping. The camera checks as you escape the base. Glass lost its equipment. Poor guy. It's been kind of expensive, but you guys are out. Glass, you have a great story if you want to air this at some point. Covert mission. Objective. Vehicle acquired. Exfiltration device. Cover. Maintained. New objective? Question mark? Full suppression? Question mark?
Maintain non-lethal.
Maintain non-lethal. Accepted. Mission objective. Covert? Overt?
Fast.
Fast. Variable. Not available. Covert or overt? Choose one. Question mark.
I look at Amethyst.
Do you want to leave in style?
Oh, baby, always choose style. Let's go.
Overt.
Overt is exfiltration. Identified. Non-lethal. Question mark. Vehicle. Parameters syncing. Use vehicle. Overt. Exfiltration. Non-lethal.
This is a wonderfully helpful.
Compromising fire suppression technology. Fire suppression. Take it. Compromising. Replacement tire system. Compromised. Compromising. Replacement fuel cells. Compromised. Detaching. Backup fuel cells. Fire suppression disengaged. Core battery power accessed. Excess reinflation materials covering overheating battery cells deposited. Semi-explosive and incapacitance gel created. Field expedient distraction device. Now. Compromising. Piloting section. And the robot proceeds to just go like a little spider all over the machine, compromising the civilian systems. He drops a power cell out the back, covers it in fire suppression. The tire material compromises the fire suppression so it won't stop it, and then does something to make it overheat, and the whole thing in the section just creates this giant chemical fog bank of irritant gas. And now, exfiltrating main base. Rerouting security personnel, calling for assistance. All EMS headed for this location. Accident identified. Biohazard identified. Distraction created. New objective? Question mark. And you guys are able to just basically pilot him out of there. Last question. We are now at end of stream time. Do you want to get paid?
Of course.
I think that would definitely be.
That would be
And
wonderful.
this is broke. We're gonna need the money.
It seems to be a common thread with you guys.
I think
right.
that
Oh, yeah.
costs the money too. He's got some real
Yeah.
equipment to replace.
And I was so
Yeah.
proud of keeping it under 3 hours last time. All right, so you guys are down to a +2 on this one. You've had several major failures, unfortunately. Who wants to make the roll?
What is it, Edge?
I think it's just a roll. I don't think
It's
there's
just a
a
+2. There's no modifier. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want all the pressure. You rolled last time, didn't you? Glass?
I did, and I don't think I have high rolls left in me.
Well,
I can give it a shot.
It's done.
You rolled?
8. Yeah, got an 8.
8.
Oh, -2? Oh, no.
No. What do
No,
you mean
plus
+2?
2.
Yeah, it's +2. That's with the +2. So.
Oh. Got it.
All right.
Oh.
Well, then let's pick some options here. Give me just 1 second to load something up here.
Yeah, we need the money. I'm just looking at this list. We need the money.
All right, so that's where you're picking, because you only get one.
No. I'll let them help pick. I'm just it's just an option. It should be near the top.
We get 1 pick?
Yeah,
Yep.
1.
I can go with the money.
Well,
Paid in full.
Yes.
It's mark 4 credits on your character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
You may also mark 5 experience. The following scene appears. You and I'm assuming you're trying to do this honestly. You and Unit 1 are brought down to a foggy dockside. Unit 1 is the request is to drop him off inside a shipping container. Unit 1 mission. Mission covert. Infiltration. You give them a bunch of specs, which the commands are very specific. Unit mission is, it's like they already have the bio and the command structure hacked. Covert, infiltration, long-term, code word activation. And they give you the code word that's supposed to activate it. Mission accepted. Farewell, teammates. Hoorah!
Gus tips his hat at the robot.
Remember, we're the only thing that stands between anarchy and society. Mac Dash, protecting the homeland, one fucking mission at a time. Mission engaged, covert infiltration, powering down. Unit 1, I'm signing off. Payment is given. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is mission number 2, Cybernetic Skeleton. Congratulations. You met Unit 1. Possibly the most messed up cybernetic quasi-robot I've ever had to voice.
I loved it.
Very cool.
Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Sprawl here on Knights of the Braille. Should be coming up on YouTube. If you haven't already, please double check some of our previous submissions. I'm going to go through the basic group listing here. So everyone here, we've got myself. I'm Blind Fury, the Game Master for today. Thanks again to Pepper the Fox for providing our initial sign-on music that we used after the intro. And the stars of the show. Let's start with the person who came up in character and bothered to dress up today. It's Mostly Blind Gamer Phil, otherwise known as Glass.
Yeah, I'm Mostly Blind Gamer. Find me on Twitter at Blind Mostly because character limits. And I tell computers to set things on fire for a living, and I complain on the internet about accessibility.
All right. And that leaves us with a hacker, Glitch Foo.
Yep, Steven. go to Knights of the Braille, and like and subscribe. Click, click.
Awesome. All right, and that leaves us with Amethyst, who I keep wanting to call Sapphire, the person who did not make a major enemy this turn and has tried to turn the tables on Jacques, who apparently will be doing a cameo next week.
We're trying. I'm Danny Marie AUC. You guys can find me on all the social medias. I stream games on Twitch during the week and chat about accessibility and mental health and all the fun things. And
All right.
It's been fun.
Hey, thanks again to Richard and Jim for setting up Knights of the Braille for the rest of us to play for VI and otherly abled and disabled gamers. Again, I'm Blind Fury, your GM for today, and we'll be doing one more of these hopefully on the 26th. If we're lucky, our driver, Slip, will be coming back for what I'm going to call Homecoming or Monster Mayhem. You choose. Other than that, we are out for today. Thanks for listening, watching, and if you see this on YouTube, again, be sure to check out some of our other productions. Peace.